I'm not gonna lie with you today. I was kind of struggling with an idea as to what to talk about. Then something kind of just hit me, and so I'm gonna run with it before I forget it or talk myself into thinking it's a bad idea. I want to talk about change. Change isn't fun, but it's necessary. I want to talk about a few instances of change in my life and what they taught me. So let's jump straight into it. One of the biggest and most prominent examples has to be the change in life pre and post COVID, and how we've almost romanticized what life was like before, and for good reason. It was awesome. I made a separate video on that. Check it out after this one. But life pre COVID felt a lot more relaxed. It felt a lot easier. It felt simpler. The vibe was just better. And life after COVID was definitely rough. And life after COVID has definitely seemed different and not for the better. Don't get me wrong, life's not bad, but there was just a different sweetness to the air before COVID. And again, keeping on the topic of change, I spent a long time after COVID thinking, man, when's it going to change back? When is it going to go back? When are we going to be where we were? Like, how long is this going to last? And I kept thinking about it, kept wondering, and eventually I realized it's never going to go back. The change happened, and it's not going, and you can't undo change. You can try, and you might get close to the original result, but it's never going to be exactly the same. And it taught me something. I loved the life that we had pre-COVID, and I'm not going to get it back. Those moments are gone, they're stuck in time forever. But what it taught me was to appreciate the good times. Because you don't know how long the good times are going to last. If today's the best day of your life, tomorrow might be the worst, so you got to enjoy today. Another instance personally with me was I lost someone close. I've also talked about this in another video. And that change was very hard. I mean, losing someone that was super close had an effect not only on me, but on my family. Even that taught me you have to embrace the ones you love while you got them, because you never know what tomorrow could bring. You couldn't be here, you might not be here, and they might not be here either. So hug them, kiss them, and tell them you love them, because you never know if you'll get another opportunity to. To get on a less deep note about this, because I feel like that's kind of a heavy way to start. Recently, I shaved my head. I used to have long, luscious locks. I had for a long time, I had like the side part thing, and then I had a mullet for a while. And then my hair started thinning. As a man in his mid-20s, that was more devastating than the fact that I am in my mid-20s. The fact that I started losing my hair. And I was kind of holding on to the past. I didn't want to let it go because I thought, it's the product, it's the shampoo I'm using, it's this, that, the other. I just refused to admit that my hair was thinning. I knew it, but I don't know, I couldn't bring myself to really do something about it. And then this past Christmas happened, and I saw pictures of what my hair looked like, and I wanted to cry. I was like, I hate it. Like I couldn't stand the sight. I couldn't stand the sight of it. I was like, stop showing me pictures. Like, it was so bad. And so I remember saying something to my mom about, like, I was like, I look so bad. Like, I look terrible. Like, how? Like, I just couldn't get over how, like, disgusting it looked. Like, I know it sounds so stupid, but I promise I'm going somewhere with it. And my mom was like, well, she's like, if you don't like it, you could do something about it. She's like, you could always, she's like, you got a little bit of money, you can get a hair transplant. I was like, I was like, I could, but it's a lot of money, and I gotta be on all these different medications, which I'm the type of person where if I don't have to take medication, I'd really rather not. So that was a no. And then my mom was like, well, your only other option is shave your head. Go buzz cut, because your hair's thinning. There's nothing you can do about it. And so I decided to obviously shave my head. And I hated it at first. Like, hated it. It was hard. I mean, my whole life I always had a full head of hair. Like I mean, when I was a kid, there's another thing I'm gonna go on a little tangent about. I feel like nowadays, like a lot of kids, like I have two nephews that are like younger, and they all have like hairstyles. Like they have the fades and the long hair on top, or they have the broccoli look or whatever. When I was a kid, I grew up in the early 2000s. When we were kids, you either had a buzz cut or a mop. Like your mom either cut your hair once a week or once a year. Like there was no, there was no styling. It was just one or the other. Anyway, just maybe that's me. If I'm the only one that thinks like this is the way it was, just call me out. But I'm pretty sure from what I remember, that's what it was. Anyway, getting back on track. I cut my hair and I remember I hated it. Like I couldn't fathom the fact that like my hair was gone. Like, so I remember like when it initially started going back, I told my mom, I was like, I'm gonna go back to the side part look. Like I can't have a buzz cut. I just can't do it. I just don't like it. And my mom was like, all right, whatever you want to do. If that's how you're feeling, if that's what you want, then go for it. And sure enough, my hair started to grow back a little bit, and I took a brush and I like kind of combed to the side, and I saw like the receding line in my hair, and I was like, oh God. I was like, that is not what I remember it looking like when I used to side part it. And I was like, man, I really have my back against the wall here. So sure enough, I went back to the barber and I shaved my head again. I cut it short. And the second time wasn't so bad. Second time, I remember getting out of the barber chair and looking at it and saying, well, it looks pretty good. And then I went back probably like 2-3 weeks ago, and I did it again. And this time, I got out of the barber chair, I drove home, I took a shower, and when I got out and I looked at myself in the mirror, I actually liked it. I realized, doesn't look so bad. It's a little bit grown now. I think I'm going to stop with the fade. I feel like it just doesn't suit me very well. But I really was like, it looks good. And I think the message in all this, I think the message in change, right, is initially it's hard. Whatever it might be. Like I said, the change between pre and post COVID, like grief, like right after you lose somebody, whether it's a physical thing, like I said, like losing your hair, or maybe, something else that you change, maybe a hair color, or whatever it is. Whatever it is, maybe whatever it might be. At first it's jarring because you're not used to it. I think that's what it is. I think you become, it's so out of the ordinary. It's so not normal to you, whatever it is, that you see it and you're like, I don't like it. I want to go back. This isn't good. I'm not happy. I can't do this. And that was exactly what I did with my hair. That was what that's what I think happened when the person that I really cared about passed away. I think it was just a sense of like, I hate this. What do I have to do to go back? But the thing about life is, the only constant is that nothing stays constant. Everything's always changing. And I think a lot of your success in life, or anyone's success in life, comes from your ability to adapt to change. How do you stare change in the face and go, this isn't going to affect me in a negative way? I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to overcome it, and I'm going to be better for doing so. Now, my hair example isn't exactly the best in terms of like overcoming adversity. I mean, it was just a simple thing, but the point is that initially change is hard. Initially change is uncomfortable. But, like I said, I kept going back to the barber, and every time I did, it wasn't so bad. It's kind of like, it's like getting a new job and, leaving your old one. It's like, yeah, there was more comfortability. It was like, yeah, it was more comfortable in your old job because, you knew everybody, you liked people you worked with, and the new job is, an unfamiliar territory. You don't know anybody, you don't really have any friends yet, but it's more pay. And I think that's another important point too, is you have to change as a person in order to grow. If you're not changing, you're either staying stagnant, which isn't good, or you're going backwards, which is even worse. In order to grow as a person, you have to keep moving forward, regardless of how scary it might be. Because change is scary, regardless of what it is. Anything changes, it's scary. I mean, it's unfamiliar. That's I think the root of what makes change so scary is you don't know what's gonna happen. It's nice to just like it would be great if you could, stay at that one job you had in high school where you had great friends and there was a great social atmosphere and you made minimum wage and the vibes were good and you enjoyed going every day, but you can't. Like you can't stay there for your whole life. You have to move on. I mean, minimum wage isn't gonna buy a house. Not in this economy, it's not. And if it is, tell me where you live because I'm definitely gonna move there. But changes. But again, it's fear of the unknown. I mean, even another good example, right? Let's say you just got out of a relationship and you worked through the breakup, you've spent the time to work on yourself, and let's say you're in a toxic relationship. I've seen this happen a few times too, or I've heard about a few times where this happened. And people won't leave toxic relationships because they're afraid of, well, if I go into another relationship, I don't know what I'm getting. But with him or her, whoever it is, I know they're toxic, but I know what I'm getting. It's comfortable. It's familiar. I know what it is. But in doing that, in resisting change, you don't know the great things you might be preventing yourself from getting into. You don't know the great people you might meet. You might meet your future husband or wife. You might meet the mother or father of your children. You might end up in the happiest relationship you've ever been, but you won't because you'd rather be comfortable. Comfort is like a drug. It's like it just makes you feel good. But you can't let it consume you because you become comfortably numb. It's hard to see. It's easy for me to say these things and to think about change. It's hard to put into action. Especially because, there's always a fear too of ridicule. There's always a fear of failure, which I think is what sometimes prevents people from taking that next step, from taking that leap of faith. And it's, if I change career paths, like let's say you're older and you say, I want to change career paths. Let's say you're in your 30s or 40s and you say, let's say you're the accountant, right? And you work in Manhattan and you take the train in every day and you see the big buildings and the city's loud and it's crowded and it's, whatever it is. And it's just way too overwhelming. You just break. It doesn't matter about the money. It's not worth doing anymore. So you decide, hey man, I have enough money saved up. I'm gonna pull out of this and I'm gonna move to somewhere quieter. Let's just say, I don't know, Montana. Looks very pretty there. And I'm gonna start painting. I'm gonna post my videos of me painting and all my paintings on YouTube and Amazon and TikTok and Instagram or whatever. And I'm gonna pursue this because when I was a kid, I always really wanted to be a painter. I was always good at it, but people told me that that's not a real career and I should focus on blah 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 blah. A lot of people are gonna be like, "What are you, out of your mind? You're gonna leave a cushy 6-figure job with all these benefits and pensions and this and that and the other thing to pursue painting? What are you, crazy?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm crazy because I changes. This is what I mean, and this is what I mean when I say change is good. Is like, yeah, it's scary to leave something that's so secure and so comfortable, but it's also scary to think about getting to the end of your life and not knowing what you could have been because you were too scared to make a change for the better." Mic drop. I just mic dropped myself. I don't know if that's cringy. Sorry if it is, but it just felt like a good moment to do it. But that's kind of the point I'm getting at. Change is scary, but sometimes in order to make yourself happy, everything you want is on the other side of fear. And in terms of change, whether that be a career change, getting out of a bad relationship, getting out of a toxic family, whatever it might be, initially, it's going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel like shaving your head. The first couple weeks are going to be weird. The next couple months are going to be weird. But eventually, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and you're going to go, that's not so bad anymore. And then you'll become so happy in your new environment that you'll look back and you go, how did I let myself stay so comfortable in that awful situation for so long? Because even now, like when I look back at my old hair, right? All I think is, why didn't I shave my head 3 years ago? And look, I mean, like, I'm sure a lot of people watching this have probably gone through a lot worse, like, life things than, like, me shaving my head, but you get the premise. It's change is scary initially, and it feels uncomfortable, and you hate it, and you resist it, but after a while, it's not that bad. Even changing bad habits. I mean, I've talked about this too, but, like, you know, I started sleeping well, I started spending less time on my phone, I started watching less TV, spending more time outside, reading books, working out more, and I look back at my old lifestyle, and I'm like, how did I ever do that? It was like, it was like, well, like I just like rotted on the couch. I was like a mushroom, like I was just like fungus growing on the couch. Like, how did I live like that? And when I initially changed, yeah, it sucked. I hated it. I wanted to spend time on my phone. I didn't want to work out, but I wanted to eat junk food. But now I look at it and I'm like, can't stand the thought of being on my phone for that long. Can't stand the thought of not going to the gym. And if I don't go to the gym, I'm like sitting in my room, like rocking, like, I gotta go to the gym. I should have gone to the gym today. Why didn't I go to the gym today? And even the thought of eating like bad is like, oh, if I eat bad, I'm gonna feel bad, and then I'm gonna knock myself for eating bad. Like, you change. You change as a person, you know? And the thing too is, once you start to learn this, once you start to accept change, it becomes a lot easier to adapt to. Those periods of like those periods of being scared and unsure and, you know, crippled by anxiety become shorter and shorter because you understand, hey, this isn't going to last forever. Yeah, I know what I'm going through right now, but you learn to manage the emotions better, and you can really rationalize with yourself, hey, this isn't forever. This is just for a little while. Even in humanity, think about if nothing ever changed. Think about it. Like, we'd still be living in caves, being hunter-gatherers. We'd still be riding horses. Like, we'd still be wearing, you know, like you know, whatever the cavemen wear. I don't know, hides? What did they wear? I don't know. Change isn't bad. And now we have, you know, we'd still be only living till like 30 years old. Like, changes, but now, you know, we live in houses, we have nice clothes, we don't freeze to death in the winter, we don't, you know, die of dehydration in the summer. We adapted, we've changed. Evolution is change, and evolution is a good thing. Well, not all evolution. I mean, the atomic bomb was pretty bad. And, like, you know, chemical warfare and stuff. But, like, most of it, you know, was pretty good. I mean, I definitely enjoy sleeping in a bed, wearing nice clothes, and driving a car instead of probably riding a horse. Although, riding a horse is kind of fun, but I don't know if I'd want to do it all the time. Car is a lot easier. And it's a lot warmer in the winter. You can't self-start a horse in the winter. Even, like, telephones, right? Like, if you have family in another country, you can just call them. Or FaceTime them, or whatever. It doesn't take 6 months to send them a letter, you know? Change is pretty awesome. Change is cool. Not something to be afraid of. The longer you stay where you are, the harder it becomes to take the leap. It's kind of like a diving board, you know? It doesn't matter how long you stand on the diving board, the water's not getting any warmer. You just gotta take the jump. You just gotta do it. And before you know it, you'll be the guy in the pool telling the next guy up, it's not that bad, man, just jump in. Those are the good old days, weren't they? Yeah. But, like I said at the top, change isn't bad. It's scary, for sure. But it's not bad. Just takes a little getting used to. Thanks for watching.